My mother threw my bag at me and said, "Get lost, loser." No hug, no smile, just ice in her voice and a front door that slammed behind me like I never existed. If you dare to watch this, stay close. Have you ever come home hoping for love, only to be treated like a ghost? 10 years in uniform. 10 years of storms, bullets, sleepless nights, and folded flags. I didn't expect a parade, but I didn't expect this either. I stood there on the porch, snow catching in my eyelashes, heart refusing to beat the same. My brother looked out the window, then laughed. "She probably wants money," he said. And my father, silent as always, just walked away. So I did too. But not before I picked up the same bag I'd carried through war zones, now soaked in slush and my mother's venom, and got on the next bus to the only place that ever felt safe. Grandma Jean's. I didn't call ahead. I just showed up. She opened the door slowly, hands trembling. Her eyes found mine and they didn't blink. And then she said 5 words that crushed every piece of me. "Why didn't they want you?" I don't remember falling, just her arms catching me. That night, I slept beneath a hand-stitched quilt in the same room I once painted with stickers as a kid. She made ginger tea, read psalms out loud, and whispered, "I'm so proud of you, baby." But pride couldn't patch the hole. It just stopped the bleeding. I thought that would be the end of it. I was wrong, because 7 days later, on a bright, bitter morning, they were back, standing on her porch. My mother, my brother, my father, shivering, pale, begging. My mother said, "Please, just open the door." My brother added, "It's not what you think." But I didn't move, because what I thought didn't matter anymore. What I knew was this. They threw me out like garbage. And now I was the only one who could save them. They used to know me as their shame. Now, they'll remember me as Elena Carter. I didn't say a word, just stared through the screen door, while the wind carved lines through the snow around their shoes. My mother's eyes darted, wild and wet. My brother couldn't look me in the face. And my father, he finally spoke. "Elena," the bank froze everything. I blinked once, slowly, then turned to Grandma Jean. She sat in her rocking chair, holding her Bible like a sword. She didn't flinch, just whispered, "You owe them nothing, baby." They owed me everything, and they knew it. Turns out, while I was risking my life overseas, my family had taken out a second mortgage on the house, my name on the papers, and defaulted. They used the checks I sent home to pay for my brother's college, my mom's cosmetic fixes, and my dad's business debts. And when I came back, I was the legal co-signer for a house they'd already lost. But I still had one card they didn't. The house wasn't foreclosed yet. And my military benefits could stall the process for exactly 60 days. 60 days they desperately needed. "You don't understand," my mom cried, clinging to the porch rail. "We were trying to survive." I tilted my head. "Funny. So was I." My brother stepped forward. "Come on, Elena. You have a good job now. Help us. We're family." Family. That word used to mean something. Now it tasted like rust. They never called once while I was deployed. Not even when my leg got blown open in Mosul. But suddenly, when the power's cut off and the sheriff's knocking, now I'm their daughter again? I crossed my arms. "I'll think about it," I said coldly. Their faces lit up. My mother even smiled. But they didn't notice what I didn't say. For who? Because I wasn't thinking about saving them. I was thinking about how to make them feel what I felt that night. How to make their pride rot from the inside out. And when I closed that door, my mother sobbed louder. But Grandma? She just rocked back once and said softly, "Let them drown in the silence they gave you." The next morning, I made a list. Not of forgiveness. Not of plans. A list of consequences. If they wanted my help, they'd have to earn it on my terms. Not because I was cruel, but because they had to feel it. Every single crack in the wall they built between us. I called a meeting at the old community center downtown. Cold metal chairs. No coffee. No smiles. They showed up late. My brother wore a suit, still pretending to be important. My mother dabbed fake tears. My father wouldn't meet my eyes. I slid the paperwork across the table. Sign this. My mother squinted. What is it? A debt contract. You'll repay every dollar you spent from my military deposits. With interest. I've already calculated the total, $143,700. Her jaw dropped. My brother scoffed. This is insane. I leaned forward. You want me to stall foreclosure? You'll work for it. Clean slates cost money. And this time, my name means something. She whispered, but we're your parents. And I was your daughter. When did that matter to you? They went silent. I added one more thing. If I save the house, you're out in 30 days. You forfeit the deed. Grandma's name goes on it, not yours. You don't get to live there. Not now. Not ever. My brother stood. This is blackmail. No, I said calmly. This is survival. The kind you never taught me. They didn't sign that night. But 2 days later, they came back. Pen in shaking hand, my mother signed first. My father followed. My brother slammed the pen down like it betrayed him. And just like that, I owned everything they cared about. But I wasn't finished. I used the GI Bill loopholes to freeze the foreclosure. Put every utility in my name temporarily, and then set deadlines. Electricity? Off in 28 days. Water? 30. The clock had started ticking. But here's what they didn't know. I never planned to keep that house either. Because true revenge isn't giving them back what they lost. It's making sure they know they never deserved it to begin with. Every day after that, they acted like they were walking on a minefield. Because they were. I gave them 30 days to vacate the house. They treated it like a hotel. But I watched everything. From a distance. My brother tried to sweet-talk me. He texted me photos of us as kids, said he missed me. My mother sent voice notes crying, calling me sweetheart, like it wasn't the same mouth that once spat. Loser. And my dad, he stayed quiet. That's when I knew he feared me the most. I didn't respond. Not once. Instead, I scheduled weekly inspections with a realtor friend. Each time they had to let her in, she asked loudly, "When's the final move-out date again?" Their faces turned paler every week. On day 17, my mom called Grandma Jean, sobbing. "She's heartless," she said. "We're her family." Grandma replied with the same steel that once raised me. "No, I'm her family. You're just the strangers who taught her pain." On day 21, I filed a public notice. I was putting the house up for auction. Proceeds to go to a local veterans shelter. I didn't want the house. I wanted peace. But I also wanted a memory stamped into every inch of their existence. You don't get to ruin someone, then ask them to rebuild you. My brother showed up at Grandma's the next night. "Just give us more time," he pleaded. "We'll pay you back. Mom's not well." I looked him straight in the eyes. "Neither was I when you all shut the door in my face." He sighed. "I made mistakes." "No," I said, my voice steady. "You made choices." The door closed again. Day 28 came. I sent the email. Electricity terminated at 6 p.m. Water in 48 hours. Final lockout in 72. At 6:02 p.m., my mom called. Screaming. Crying. Blaming. "You're evil," she shouted. No. I was done. Done being the afterthought. Done being the soldier without a home. They turned their backs on me when I needed light. So now, they could sit in the dark. That night, the temperature dropped to 18 degrees Fahrenheit. No lights. No heat. No comfort. Just silence and the sound of pipes ticking in protest. I didn't drive by. I didn't need to. The power company confirmed the shutoff. I let the silence do the talking. But Grandma Jean? She sat beside me on the couch, knitting like a queen in control of her throne. "Funny thing about cold," she said, her voice soft. "It don't kill you. It reveals you." On day 29, I woke up to a knock on her door. It was my father. No pride. No excuses. He looked older than I remembered, like shame had hollowed him out. I didn't know they used your name, he muttered. Your mother handled all that. He trailed off. Cowards always do. You watched them throw me out, I said, and did nothing. He nodded slowly. I know. Then he handed me something, a box. Inside, old letters I sent home from the field. Still sealed. Not one had been opened.
Not one.
My breath caught. My throat clenched. He whispered, She told us they were just you venting, said they didn't matter. But they mattered to me. They were my only way of surviving back then. And they tossed them aside like garbage. Why now? I asked, holding the box like it weighed 1,000 bricks. He looked up, eyes glassy. Because the house is ice cold, and I finally understand what you felt all those years. I didn't come for him. I didn't scream. I simply closed the door. Sometimes, dignity sounds like wood clicking shut. By nightfall, the sheriff served the final notice. Eviction in 24 hours. The neighbors watched as my brother carried out boxes in the dark. My mother begged him to do something. But there was nothing left to do. The girl they exiled? She owned their ending. And me? I sat in Grandma's kitchen, sipping hot tea, watching the steam rise like a quiet victory. Vengeance doesn't always explode. Sometimes it freezes slowly, until the ones who made you feel invisible finally see their own reflection in frost-covered glass. Day 30. Eviction day. They didn't leave quietly. Of course they didn't. The sheriff knocked on the door at 10 a.m. sharp. By 10:07, my mother was screaming about human rights. By 10:10, my brother was arguing with the deputy like logic could erase a signed deed. And by 10:30, their lives were sitting in plastic tubs on the front lawn. I didn't go to the house. I didn't need to. I'd already sent a moving crew. Not to help them, but to remove the last thing I ever cared about inside that place. A photo album. Me and Grandma Jean. My real family. Everything else? Let it rot. By noon, the neighbors gathered like flies. Whispering. Recording. Some pretended to help. Most didn't. Because when you've played the victim for years and suddenly get exposed, people don't rush in. They observe. Let them. At 2 p.m., my brother texted me. This is cruel. You're humiliating us. I replied with one line. You did that to me first. Later that night, I drove by once. Just once. Not to gloat. To witness the moment my silence became louder than their years of dismissal. My mother sat on the porch, wrapped in a blanket she used to call ugly. Now it was all she had. My father leaned against a suitcase, eyes sunken. And my brother? He stared at the for sale sign like it was written in fire. I parked half a block down. Watched as the moving truck pulled away. Empty. They were staying in a motel now. One of those hourly rate ones near the highway. I knew because I'd booked the room. One night. Prepaid. No more. This was the price of pretending someone doesn't exist, until you need them. This was justice written not in rage but in patience. I didn't wave. Didn't honk. Didn't cry. I just turned the ignition, slowly drove off, and left them exactly where they left me that Christmas night. Outside. Alone. In the cold. A week passed. They didn't call again. No more texts. No more guilt. Just the echo of their silence. And this time, it was mine to enjoy. I bought a small house near the edge of town. Nothing fancy. 2 bedrooms. A red door. Peaceful. Grandma Jean moved in with me. She brought her tea tins, her rocking chair, and the kind of laughter that sounds like healing. We painted the living room together. Yellow. Like sunshine. Because we knew now, warmth isn't found in people who throw you out. It's in the ones who open the door, even when you don't ask. Meanwhile, I heard through town my brother tried getting a job at a tech firm. Didn't pass the background check. Apparently, someone flagged his fake credentials. My mom was living with a friend from church, but word got out. Donations she claimed were for cancer treatment had mysteriously disappeared. My dad? He disappeared too. Probably hiding from the shame he helped build. But I wasn't tracking them. I was rebuilding me. I started mentoring veterans. taught high schoolers about leadership and survival. I became the voice I never had for others who came home to closed doors. And one afternoon, while setting up a fundraiser, a reporter stopped by. "I heard about the house sale," she said. "How it funded a new shelter. People are calling you a quiet hero." I shook my head. "I'm not a hero," I said. "I'm just someone who got tired of being erased." She smiled. "Sometimes the quietest people leave the loudest mark." That night, I sat with Grandma on our porch. We drank hot cider, watched the stars. She looked at me and said, "You turn their cruelty into kindness. That's power, baby." And for once, I believed it, because I realized something. Forgiveness isn't about letting them back in. It's about walking past the wreckage and never needing to look back. I didn't get revenge with fire or fury. I did it with a whisper, a closed door, and the strength to never knock on theirs again. It was a Sunday morning when the knock came.
Soft.
Hesitant. Familiar. I opened the door slowly, not afraid, just curious. It was my brother. He looked small. Not in size, but in presence. Like life had finally pressed him down to human level. He held a crumpled paper bag, eyes barely meeting mine. "I brought muffins," he said. "From Mom. She said you used to like lemon poppy." I didn't move, didn't reach for the bag. He cleared his throat. "She's sick. Real this time. Hospital said stage 2 liver failure. No insurance. No backup." I stayed quiet. He blinked. "She's sorry." "Is she?" I asked calmly. "Or just out of options again?" He had no answer. That silence, it was familiar now. And this time, I let it stretch. Finally, he added, "Dad's gone. Left in January. We don't know where. And me? I'm trying." I studied his face. The guilt was real. Maybe even the effort was too. But my forgiveness wasn't something you collect like a final paycheck. I opened the door a little wider. He stepped forward, hopeful, until I held out my hand.
Not to pull him in. To stop him.
"You're not welcome here," I said gently. "Not yet. Maybe not ever." His face crumpled, but he didn't argue. Instead, he placed the bag on the porch, nodded once, and turned. No tantrum. No begging. Just quiet acceptance. I closed the door and stood there, hand resting on the wood, breathing. Then I tossed the muffins in the trash. That night, I wrote one final letter. Not to them, to myself. A thank you for surviving, for becoming my own home, for learning that sometimes the deepest revenge is never needing theirs again. I lit a candle, said a prayer for peace, not for their healing, but for mine. And I meant it. Then I turned off the porch light. Not in anger, but because I no longer needed anyone to find their way back to me. I was already home.